I really want to help you to understand why it is incredibly important for you to build an organic following online and what's going to happen if you do.
Hey, I'm Ken. I used to be a homicide detective. I was a cop for over 15 years, and I got sick of it. When I found out I was going to become a dad, I needed to make a change. In the last 15 years, I've started 4 different businesses in 4 different industries, and they've made a lot of money. This channel is dedicated to showing people exactly how to build an 8-figure coaching business. Every single part of it. I love teaching people how to write books, how to get your books traditionally published, how to turn those books into 7-figure coaching businesses, and you're going to find all that information right here.
All right, so let's dig right into this. I want to start off today by talking to you about a little challenge that I've had in my career. I got to be honest with you. I hated building my following online. It just drove me crazy. In the digital marketing world, you're going to hear a lot of people that call it publishing content and being a content publisher. And I can tell you now, looking back over my journey, I wish I would have started doing this 10 years ago. And I really struggled. I was forced to get into publishing content, to content publishing, but it has changed my business forever. And if you are trying to build any type of business online, whether it's a coaching business or a speaking business or an e-commerce business, any business at all, getting in the habit of publishing content is the biggest way, the easiest way that you're going to get into making millions of dollars on the internet. And I just want to spend a second with you right now and tell you the story. So I started building my online business about 15 years ago. It was back in 2010. I'd started a publishing company and I was really excited about helping people to write amazing books. I'd created this system for writing books that was a game changer for everybody. Essentially, people, over 3,000 authors have used my system to write their books, and they all write their books in less than 5 hours of writing, and they beat the industry average. So the industry average is that 90% of books that people write fail. Well, our books, it's the exact opposite. And 90% succeed because they're written properly. Anyway, back in that age, in the beginning, I knew that if I was truly going to help authors, I had to also help authors to learn how to sell books. And it was right around that time in 2010, 2011, in that period, that things were truly changing. The internet was coming of age. Facebook had launched paid advertising. The whole world was changing. And I realized that if I was going to teach people to sell books, I needed to figure out how to sell books in the digital age that we were going into. And so I didn't have a clue about anything to do with digital marketing. And so I went to a friend of mine who knew everybody. His name was Troy Dooley. And I asked Troy, who did he know that could teach me or could help me to learn digital marketing? And he said, well, you should contact Russell Brunson. And I really didn't understand who Russell was at the time, to be honest with you. I knew Russell from the network marketing world. And that's where I knew Troy from. So I reached out to Russell. I just happened to have his information. And I said, Troy told me you knew a lot about digital marketing. Can you help me? And he started giggling. And I understand why today. Russell is easily one of the top digital marketers in the world. And everybody knew that of him, except for me, I guess. So long story short, I ended up joining Russell's inner circle. This is a $50,000 mastermind, $50,000 a year to be part of it. And part of Russell's inner circle, he does these mastermind events in Boise, Idaho, where you get to fly in. And there's typically 50 to 100 other entrepreneurs there. And during this 2-day event that he does a couple times a year, couple things happens. Number one, everybody there, he asks everybody to share something that they're good at and also ask for help. And then he always does some teaching. Well, at this event, I remember it like it was yesterday, he laid out and explained to everybody exactly why we all needed to be publishing content, that we all needed to build a following online organically, publishing content on as many platforms as you could, as often as you could. And it was like a secret to being successful. And he told me this story about how when he first got started, everybody was using Google, and Google back in, I guess it was 2000 or 2002 or 3 or whatever it was, Google changed their advertising analytics or algorithms, and it screwed everybody, and they call it the Google slap, and how it almost destroyed his business. And I left that meeting deciding we're talking like 2014. I left that meeting deciding I was going to do it, that I was going to become a content publisher. And I tried. It's just so much work. It drives me freaking crazy. Like, you have to find the platforms to do it on. You've got to figure out how to publish. You've got to do videos. You got to do posts. You got to do blog articles, podcasts. I mean, there was so much stuff that it drove me crazy. So truthfully, I started looking for something else to do. And I found Facebook advertising, and I really went deep into Facebook advertising, and I went crazy with it. And we started to make millions of dollars by running ads. And then in 2021, in the spring of 2021, Facebook got in a lot of trouble. As you probably recall, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg was pulled before Congress, and he was forced to testify at a review where they were digging into how Facebook was collecting people's data, very personal data about preferences and purchasing and all kinds of things. And they would turn around and use that data for advertising. At the end of the day, Facebook was sanctioned and forced to start changing the way they do business. Now, Apple heard this and saw what was going on, and they thought, oh, we're going to be next. So they made a preemptive decision to change the way they did business. Now, what Apple was doing before the Facebook slap, if you will, Apple was also collecting data from whatever happened on the phone. And Apple was allowing other platforms to use the data of what was happening with somebody on a phone. So what Apple decided to do, seeing this challenge and realized they were probably going to be next, is Apple decided to let people opt out of advertising. Now, you probably saw that. Well, that was April of 2021 that it all happened, and it killed my business. I literally went from making a very successful, significant six-figure income to about $50,000 a month. And like, I know you're reading this and saying, or seeing this and saying that that's a pretty significant amount of money, but it was painful. We have staff and employees, and it was nuts. Now, here's the irony of it. So at that very same time, I was hosting a large online event called Build Your Following. And there were some of the greatest online teachers in the world, people like Rachel Peterson and Rachel Miller and Alok Aparadai and just all kinds of really great people that were there at that event. And they were teaching people how to build their followings. And what I did for that specific event is I tried to find one expert from every platform. So there's a guy that there was an expert on YouTube, one on blogging, one on podcasts, you name it. And so at the same time as I'm listening to them, I'm realizing that I have to get serious about this, because Russell always said, I remember, like, I can't get his words out of my mind. He said, you don't truly have an online business until you're in control of your traffic. And the only way to get in control of your traffic is to get into the habit of publishing content. So I left that event with all of the notes from all the teachers, and I started implementing it. And it was painful. I remember going into the summer of 2021, it was a nightmare for me. Now, I was doing it and I was seeing a difference, but it was taking me about 5 hours a day to create the videos and create the blog posts and everything that I needed to do. It was a nightmare, and I was struggling, like, getting the podcast episodes online and just doing all of this stuff. So then I realized that I started thinking, how can I use a virtual assistant to help with this? Because I have 2 full-time virtual assistants in my company. And I thought to myself, what if I record the videos and then I give the videos to my virtual assistant and teach her to do everything else? And I did it. and it freaking worked. And if you follow these videos, if you subscribe to this channel, you follow this show regularly, over the next 6 weeks, I am going to do a series of episodes that explains how to implement this entire process. And you're going to, I mean, it'll blow your mind. It's just unbelievable. So, summer of 2021 is when this system all came together, and I figured it out that I could just shoot videos, give them to my virtual assistant, Abby. Abby would take the video, add a commercial to it, turn it into the YouTube show. Then she would take the YouTube show and rip the audio out of it, put it in and publish the podcast, turn it into the podcast. Then she would take the initial video that I gave her and use it online using live streaming software. And she would go live for me. So I go live 3 to 4 times a week on every platform out there, and it's actually Abby doing it. I just record the one video. Then she takes a transcription software and she transcribes the audio, and she makes my blog articles for me. Then she takes all of that content that she's created, the video, and she uses Canva, and she makes all the posts. And so now we're posting, about 300 times a week. Now, listen carefully to this, because that's not the end of the story. What we do from there is we track all of the posting, and then the posts that are doing really well, we use those posts to scale the business. So in every post that we publish, we put a unique link that drives traffic back to our offer. So when somebody sees the post, the law of averages says that over time, the more posts that are out there in more places that resonate with people, that people really like, that's the first step in them liking me, and then they're going to click on the link and buy the thing. That's what you're going to learn in this process. But it's more important than that. Facebook is the hub of this entire process. You can build a following of millions and millions of people, and there's 2 steps to it. The first step is just publishing the content and getting into the habit of using the auto content loop that you're going to learn about as you go through this information. The second step is to track the posts and use the most successful post to scale the business. So in this series, I'm also going to show you how we use Facebook's algorithm and Facebook's ad platform to see which video content performs the best, and then we use that to drive even more traffic. I'll explain it really quickly to you. So the hub of everything that we do is Facebook, and the reason for that is Facebook is the biggest platform, but more importantly than that, they have the best analytics ability. So that means they have the best ability for you to see who's actually liking the posts, who's liking the content, who's following the content, who's watching the content, who watches all the content. Facebook will show you how to do that. But more importantly than that, video is king. And friends, throughout this entire series, you're going to really start to understand how important video is and why you need to get good at video. And video is king, and all of the platforms are fighting over it. Today, as this specific book is being published, because I'm writing a book on this topic, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook are all in a turf war over video. And look, TikTok is the king of video today, but Facebook still has the best platform for analytics and has the most people on it. So here's what I do. This is part 2 that I realized. Once my virtual assistant was getting in the habit, she had a system where she was going live with my videos 4 times a week. So I'm doing 4 videos a week, and she goes live, and all the videos are about 10 minutes long, meaning that it's me going live. It's on my business Facebook page, but she's doing it. She's using software to do it. Well, after I leave those videos, I leave the videos all online for about a week. And I just want to see how they perform organically. Now, what you can do on Facebook and what you're going to learn in this book is exactly how to look at the videos based on a week of organic traffic, meaning for a week, the videos have just been online and we'll see organically what happens. You can see which videos people like the most. You can see that by the amount of views and how how many shares and likes. It's very easy to see that, and you'll learn about exactly how to do that in this series. But then what I do is I turn the successful videos into video view ads. It's unbelievable. I love this freaking process because I can say, okay, after a week, people loved this video. So clearly, if I start spending money on that video, more people are going to like it. So once I do that, I'll get in the habit. I'll run a different video every week for a set budget. I normally spend $50 a week. You spend whatever your budget allows. But after a week, I see thousands and thousands of views. Now, what I love, the reason that I'm going to encourage you to use Facebook is once you have a good amount of videos, and I'm not going to tell you the number, you get to decide, you can actually go into Facebook's ads platform and you can build an advertising audience of people who watch your videos. And you can build multiple audiences. So you can have an audience that is people who watch 100% of your videos, people who watch 50% of your videos, people that watch at least 30% of your videos. The audience that I've found that works the best is an audience Facebook calls a through play audience. And what a through play audience is people who have watched at least 3 seconds of a video, but it also includes all the way up to people who have watched the entire videos. Well, friends, by the time you're finished reading this book, you're going to know exactly how to follow this process and build a through play audience and then market and advertise your products and services to the people who are in that through play audience. Why? Because those are the people that watch all your videos. What I've discovered in using this process is that the people who watch my videos are much more likely to buy my products and services because they like me. And that is probably the biggest reason that you need to implement the system that you're going to learn about. You just have to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow the podcast, and go through these videos with me over the next 6 weeks because I'm going to walk it all through. And then all of this content I'm going to use to publish a book called Build Your Following that you're probably holding in your hands right now. So now you understand it backwards. Friends, why do you need to do all this? It's really simple. Everybody is online today because of the pandemic that we were just talking about. Everybody is online. Before the pandemic, it was really easy just to run an ad and get somebody to buy something. But because everybody's online now, you have to start by building trust. When you start publishing content, you're going to be putting your information, everything you know, out there into the public world so people can get to know you. And when they understand that you really know what you're talking about, because that's what your videos are going to do, that's what your content is going to do, and that you can help them to solve the problem that they have, the thing they want to fix, then they're much more likely to buy your products and services. And that's the secret. That's how this works. Along the way, inside of this book, you're also going to learn how to get people paying attention, to build that audience, move them to your email list, how to communicate with them through email, and how to convert them into high-paying customers, products, services. Hey, listen, if you like what you're reading here, or like you're hearing here, if you're liking this content, then there's a link in the show's notes from this episode where you can check out the online course that I built, the entire masterclass on how to build your following. So I did a single video on how to implement this entire strategy, and you just have to click on that link below and it'll send you to it. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this show. If you did, subscribe, leave me a note below if you have any questions, and we'll see you in the next show.